What's going on, people? If you are thinking about going on a coding bootcamp in 2023, then this is why they suck. Now, disclaimer alert, I do also have a video on why you should go on a coding bootcamp. However, it's not just the generic ones that you see online. It actually gives you the real reasons and what they offer you in terms of getting a job, which is ultimately what it's all about. So check that video out. Now, what makes me the authority to comment on this? So I obviously went on a bootcamp to start my tech journey many years ago. I partner with a lot of bootcamps with my startup, juniordeveloper.careers. I support a lot of people coming through bootcamps who have been on a bootcamp and are struggling to land their first job. And we will touch on that as well. I also advise a few bootcamps on what they teach. So this video is particularly heartfelt for me, but I have to be honest. Now, the number one reason is the lack of quality across the bootcamps. So if you have all noticed, bootcamps are still relatively in their early stages. There's nothing like what we have in the UK. In the UK, we have a government company called Ofsted who go around and they mark schools based on the quality of what they teach or deliver. Now, with coding bootcamps, there is no one size fits all. There's no one place or no one alignment to say this is what you should teach, how you should teach it, the quality of your content. There's nothing like that. So the quality of content between each bootcamp varies from company to company. So you'll never find a sort of set or a baseline. Now, I've spoke to a lot of people who've gone on a bootcamp who've been happy, but I've also spoke to a lot who've gone on it and said, well, I literally could have taught myself this. There's no sense of quality here. I've also seen them teaching out-of-date concepts as well. So when you're talking about async and await promises, etc., I've seen them sort of teach outdated concepts which we do not use in a day-to-day business operation, not with modern JavaScript, etc. The second reason why they suck in 2023 is that all the information that you learn in a coding bootcamp you can learn online for free. There is nothing that you learn in a bootcamp which you cannot find on YouTube, Udemy, Pluralsight, Coursera, Web3 schools, and all the places where you will normally go to learn about software, learn about coding. All the information is there for free. The only difference, I suppose, is that it's more structured for you and you have this sort of peer support group, which is obviously a big thing, but it's not necessarily the be all and end all, especially when you're forking out a lot of money. Which takes us on to point number 3, the cost. Now, most coding bootcamps cost between £6,000 and £10,000 in the UK, or maybe $8,000 to $15,000 in the USA. That's a hell of a lot of money. And I know that because I paid £6,000 for mine and I'm still paying it off 3 years after I left. Yeah, 3 years after I left, I'm still paying off mine, and it's a big chunk of interest that I was paying off first, and now I'm finally into the meat and potatoes, as we call it in the UK, of the payments. Do I think it was worth the value for what I paid? No. But the reason I paid for it is because they guaranteed me an interview at the end. If I knew I could get to the interview stage, I could probably guarantee myself a job. So in that aspect, okay, it was worth it there. But of what I learned, I pretty much had already taught myself. Now, just to expand on that a little bit further, currently in the UK, the Department for Education is sponsoring most places on bootcamp. So you can get a 12-week fully funded bootcamp from pretty much all bootcamps in the UK. So it is actually a good time to get that free 12-week course for what I paid £6,000 for and what a lot of other people have paid for. You can now currently get it free. So if you were thinking about getting on one, now's the perfect time. Now, reason number 4 is the companies themselves. So it's all good going on a bootcamp and trying to find your job, but it's not just based on that, it's also based on what the companies are looking for. Now, I've spoken to companies before because that's where my startup sort of aligns itself. We connect companies to people coming from career changes into tech. Now, the companies are not always confident in the people coming out of boot camps because, as I mentioned in point number 1, is the quality of candidates varies across the boot camps. The people you might get from one boot camp might be absolutely fantastic. People you get from the next boot camp might not be as great, or there could be variance in the people themselves. So in a great boot camp, you can still get good and bad developers based on their personalities. Now, if they take a chance on somebody who they do not like or who does not fit their culture and they've had a really bad experience, then there's a good chance they're not going to hire a bootcamp grad again because that's just their experience based on it. So there needs to be something there which deals with the employers and also the quality. Number 5, in terms of the content that they deliver, it's a one-size-fits-all approach. So we see a lot of information out there about how the education system is not built for 2023. You know, it wasn't built for 2010 or 2015. It needed an overhaul a long time ago because education in its essence takes a one-size-fits-all approach. Coding bootcamps do the same. So it doesn't matter if you're a brilliant developer and you pick up things really quick, or if you're terrible, maybe you're neurodivergent. There aren't a lot of different bootcamps who can cater for the different kind of people coming through. It's a very intense, short, sharp 12 weeks of information, and you have to keep up. Now, some of them do have extra support, etc., but what I found is that it wasn't actually brilliant in terms of how they can support you through, you know, the things that you've got going on. I've got a family, I have young kids, I was working weekends to put myself through the boot camp. These are all things which most boot camps struggle to account for, especially the neurodivergent aspects of things, and especially the one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to teaching. Some people are more visual, some people are more hands-on, some people like more support. You'll really struggle with that. Now, I'm going to round this off with saying that not all boot camps are bad boot camps, and there are definitely reasons why you should go on one, and I've done a different video, so you should definitely check that out, and why you should go on a coding bootcamp, because there are some benefits. However, for this video, we obviously concentrated on why you shouldn't go on one and why I probably wouldn't go on one again. That's primarily based on what I said. It's the quality of content, the fact that I can get it all online for free, the fact that it's a one-size-fits-all approach. So if you're somebody who has different requirements, you might want to chase up with the bootcamp first and say, you know, how do you handle this, or how can I, you know, how will you support me in this manner? And the other problem you've got right now is obviously with there being so many boot camps on the UK, that there's a lot, well, in the UK and USA and world, there's a lot more competition at entry to junior level when it comes to jobs in tech. So your competition is actually increased a lot. So if you are going on one, it's not just about going on the boot camp, it's about what you do after to make yourself stand out, which is what obviously I do a lot of work in. That's my area, my focus. So make sure to check out the rest of my content, like, subscribe, please, and let me know if you have been on one. Would you go back on one again? If you wouldn't, why? And if you would, why? Let's share that information for other people who are going to be checking out this video and deciding whether they want to go on one or not.